came back to the same beach that I did last week with that real juicy trough in it, because we have a south wind today that's really supposed to kick. Jesus, I'm making a video. Supposed to kick up in a couple hours and get kind of nasty out here. The south wind messes everything up. So I got a couple hours. It's 6:05 a.m. and I'm just gonna try to put in a little bit of time before the weather sends us home. All right, you can't really tell the actual shape of the troughs, right? You can kind of tell that there's like some workable stuff in here, but you can't really see what we saw the other day. Luckily, I don't see any bluefish right now, so that's fantastic. But if you remember, when we were looking at this trough last time, I said, get yourself a landmark. Find something on shore that you'll remember, and then you have a reference point. So I know where that trough is and where I want to fish it, and that's why we did it for days like this when you can't see it. I can already see cow nose ray like right here. Man, you know, conditions have changed. They may not look like it too much, but we had some pretty calm ocean the past couple days. The wind was pretty smooth. Everything was pretty nice, and now it's kicked up a little bit, and by the end of today I'm sure it'll be a lot different. But with the south wind comes upwelling, and I'm telling you, the water on my feet right now, it feels like it's got to be 5 degrees, I'll bet. It really cooled down quite a bit. So just as I always do, I tip my bucktail with a jerk shad. This is a 5-inch one, although I do prefer a 6-inch. And this is the Pink and Pearl swimming mullet. I usually run it up the back of the fish, the top of the fish, and out the back. And then once that gets all torn up, I'll just do it out the belly. But I run it up along the shank. I think it looks like a more natural and a better presentation. So I'm gonna try to not cast too far and stay in close, because I don't want to be near those rays, as I've stated ad nauseum. A lot of current today, so I'm not really going to work it too hard. I'm going to let the current do a lot of my work. I'm just going to basically maintain contact, and I'm really not even reeling. I'm just giving action to the jig and letting the current do it. By giving it action, I am retrieving it a little bit, but I mean, minimal, right? Now I cast it up current. The current's going right to left, so I cast it up current. But now you can see my line is beyond that like 45 degree. So I'm gonna pull it in now, because I don't want to bring my bait against the current. It doesn't look natural. You're better off pulling it in, recasting it, and making your every cast count. So I'm going to walk north a little bit until I get to my reference point and I know where I want to cast, where that trough begins. Could you do me a favor? I mean, look at me out here with a camera on my head like an idiot. What would my grandfather think, right? Just do me a favor, hit the damn subscribe button. Make it worth my while to come out here with a camera on my head, please. All right, so I've hit my reference point of where the trough begins. And you can kind of see the waves are in close right there. So this is that point of the trough. This is where it started. So the trough, it'll widen out as we go north. But this should be where the fishing starts, in theory. The current is quite strong, and I keep trying to fish the beach lip, but man, the waves they don't look that big, but they're strong. So I'm gonna try to just work this trough and see if there's fish on the outer, the inner, or they in the middle. They probably want to be a little bit protected from these waves, but still in that zone where they can eat. But I'm gonna fish this for a minute or two until I really figure it out. There we go. We're on the board. And he threw up, but I missed what he threw up, so. Thanks, fella. Okay. Maybe half ounce is gonna work. So you can see how nice and deep this water is versus everywhere else. Down there it was all white water, and the waves were coming all the way into the beach, and that was the start of the trough, but it was real skinny up there. And as you get into right here, it starts right here and it comes through here deep. That is juicy. That's what you want, and that's where we're gonna find fish today. Man, see, that was a fish, right? And the current had sculpted my line out so hard that I couldn't feel it. And I just waited too long to strike until I realized it. So, I mean, that's kind of what you have to deal with when the waves are like this. You know, we've been fishing some pretty calm water lately, so when the waves are like this, you really gotta work on your line management, because if you get a big sculp or a lot of slack in your line and the current takes it out, puts it in like a big curve, that's how you miss them, man. So you could go a little heavier. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea for me. Because that's really taking it good over here. I'm just gonna cast over here into that beach lip and see if I can work it down a little bit. Really, in this kind of current, if you feel like there might be just a little bit of change on the end of your hook, like it might be just a little bit heavier, I mean, yeah, it could be like mussels or seaweed or something, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to just take a swing at it, because it's not like calm water. The current's really playing tricks with your line. Right there. See, there was just a little bit of difference from the previous cast. You go, it feels like it might just be a little hung up, and there it is. But you have to watch when they're in that wash area. You gotta wait for the wave, because you'll lose it. Man, that's a nice fish. Yeah, that's a pretty one. That thing was definitely 17, I would say. Very close to a keeper, but it wasn't there yet. One good snack on him, and We might have been close. Seven o'clock. We're already starting to notice some significant changes in the trough. The water depth in the ocean is starting to drop. So the bar is now taking more energy out of those waves that are coming in, and they're breaking a little bit harder on that bar. So you can see that this trough is kind of like calming down just a little bit. Because it's only a matter of time before it gets like, you know, too shallow and the fish move outside. So I'm just going to try to work this trough. I don't know how much more time we have here. Open for another hour, but I forget what I said low tide was at, 9:30 maybe. So by 7:30 we'll be 2 hours out, and that might be too shallow. We'll see. I don't know. You know, the surf is a little bit rough, so maybe they'll stay in. You never know. I don't know the answer. I just want to, I'll fish it and find out. There we go. Thinking I could probably go back to the 1/2 ounce now, because the trough is it's different, as I just stated. So I might do that. I might go back to the 1/2, because this 3/4 is pretty heavy. Just as that 3/4 ounce bucktail helped me over there when the makeup of the ocean was like a little bit different, right? It was a little bit stronger. It was like really pronounced right to left. It might be hurting me now to have this on. So I'm gonna, no. I'm gonna switch it out. I'm gonna give it this cast, and I'll go back to the 1/2 ounce. Oh boy. Oh my God, that was a good fish. Oh. Now I have to do everything to try to get him back. All right, I'm gonna keep this 3/4 on for a minute. You know, it's tough because I keep my drag tight. So when you're setting your hook, you don't want that drag to pay out and obviously like lessen or deaden your hook set. But it's tough, like when you lose them on that hook set. You know, I set the hook real good, and then the drag was still locked up, so he got off. But that felt like a really nice fish. I might have stung him a little too hard, so I'm gonna just try to take a couple real slow passes by him, see if I could get him back. Heartbreaker. Alright, so I just did a single 3/4 bucktail with a white swimming mullet, and I have a no teaser. I'm just throwing that 3/4 out there because I want it to sink quick before the current takes it. I don't want too much to grab onto the line and pull it. So I'll just work it real slow through this little area, see if I can pull something out of it. Go. I knew there'd be one in there. Come on, bud. I knew there'd be one in there, and there might be a couple. I'll keep working, but if I don't find it, hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate every one of you. Please subscribe, like the video. It's not your first time on YouTube. Okay. Nice fish. It's crazy how some of those little ones, man, they could just pull drag. I'm always surprised by window pane flounder or sundials. Those little fish feel so much bigger than they actually are. I guess they just know how to move water.